Good morning, everyone. This is Vinish from WSI ALM, welcoming you to another edition of our Launchpad webinar series. My apologies. We took a little bit of a break last week. I was down with flu, and Armando had some issues as well, so we couldn't conduct our Launchpad webinar session last week. But here we are, all good now, and hopefully we didn't inconvenience you too much with the new sign-up link that we had to send out. Because we ran out of sessions to add in the old link, so we had to send out the new link. But I have myself, and I'm joined by Armando Alas with us as well.
Good morning, everyone. Looking forward to a good Launchpad webinar today.
Excellent. So all ready to start. It's still pretty cold out here in Toronto, but I've heard the temperature is going to start getting warmer this weekend. So starting Friday, we're getting some warmer weather. So definitely looking forward to that. Even though it's coming in with some rain, we'll take the rain to the snow any day. All right, great. So again, for all of you that are not joining up for the first time, you're quite aware of the format that we follow in our Launchpad webinar series. We start off with the latest news and events that we cover for the week, and we follow that up with a case study. Armando's got a really nice case study lined up for this week. It's an SEO case study for one of our clients, and we got some good traction in the campaign quite early on. As a matter of fact, in the first couple of months of the campaign itself. So Armando wanted to showcase that case study. And then I have a really cool, exciting tool that I want to review this week. It's a really cool tool. Helps produce a really nice snapshot and a really nice report for a website. And you can definitely use it at any stage for your sales cycle. You can use it at the prospecting stage. You can use it actually at the upsell stage, at any different stage. It's a really cool tool that I want to showcase this week. And then, of course, followed up by questions at the end of the webinar. Okay, so let's dive right in. So the first news that we had was Bing Ads is about Bing Ads. And as we mentioned in our previous webinars, if you're not focusing on Bing, we highly suggest that you do, because Bing is starting to get a lot of traction as far as search engine queries are concerned. It's already at 22% for all search queries that are taking place on the internet. Google's still at the top of the helm at 66%, but Bing has gone from a very low 6 or 7% all the way up to 22%. And one of the strategies that we're actually recommending our ICs and our prospects and our clients is the fact that they should always allocate a little portion of their budget, if especially they're doing PPC advertising. A little portion of their budget should be dedicated to Bing, so that you can at least make sure that all of your branded terms are covered and nobody's stealing away leads and conversions that are actually your branded leads and conversions, because you do have your competitors bidding on your branded terms, and the last thing that you want is giving up your leads and your conversions on Bing to your competitors. So that's the reason why we always advise the ICs to have a little portion of the budget towards Bing, so that you have your branded terms covered and you're getting your conversions that are essentially people that are looking for your particular brand. So Bing Ads is coming up with a lot of enhancements, making their tool really sophisticated, and they've recently launched something called the Bing Landscape tool. It's very, very similar to Google's conversion tool, where you could potentially look at what CPC, like you can change your cost per click, and you can basically see what the estimated cost is going to be, the estimated clicks, estimated impressions, etc., etc. So this is something that was recently launched by Bing. The official press release is actually on their website, so I'll take you there right now. Here's the official press release from Bing executive Tracy Chen, and it goes on to describe what the bid landscape is, why do you need to use the bid landscape, and how you can basically use this bid landscape feature. Essentially what it does is that it can give you projections. So you can instead of actually bidding or changing your CPC, you can put in what your projections potentially are. Let's say, at $1 or $1.20 or $1.30, what is your estimated cost, your estimated clicks going to be like? And that's what this bid landscape tool gives you. It gives you a good assessment. So a great tool for the PPC experts out there, the PPC guys that are looking at Bing. This was in a pilot for a very long time, and they had good success with it and good feedback, which is why they decided to make it accessible to everybody. Now, the only issue is that it's only available to the U.S. in the U.S. right now, so it's only available for U.S. campaigns. But I'm pretty sure, based on the rollout, they'll be spreading it across very quickly. But as of right now, this feature is only available in the U.S. campaigns. Great. The other news of the week was Yelp and Yellow Pages entering into a strategic content distribution partnership. So this is a pretty interesting partnership because it's kind of like a win-win situation for both. Yellow Pages, what are they going to gain out of this? They're going to get a huge amount of exposure to Yelp's local audience, and Yelp's audience is only increasing. They've raised a lot of money through private sources, so they're really pushing the Yelp out there pretty aggressively. Then the other benefit for Yellow Pages is the full range of profile features and all the capabilities that come with having a Yelp branded profile. So Yellow Pages is going to benefit out of that. What does Yelp benefit out of this? Yellow Pages has one of the biggest sales teams out there, one of the biggest street teams out there, and to date, Yellow Pages is the hub for the most number of local businesses, small businesses that are advertising or have a listing on Yellow Pages. So Yelp's getting access to that entire database plus that whole sales team that Yellow Pages has. So it's a pretty interesting partnership, and it can only strengthen both these two brands. There have been a lot of frustrations with Yelp in the past of like fake reviews and negative reviews and a whole bunch of controversies on, you pay Yelp and then your negative reviews are going to go away, and they've tried to they've been working very hard to kind of clean all of that up, getting rid of fake reviews on their websites, what have you, so as to protect the integrity of the network. So an interesting partnership, and let's see what this does for both the networks. The other news, before I actually talk about the fact that Matt Cutts has said that anybody that was associated with the most popular guest blogging site, which is called My Blog Guest, will be penalized. Prior to this, about a week back, and we missed this in our previous webinar because we didn't have a webinar on Tuesday, but the big news for that week was My Blog Guest, which is a guest blogging network, and maybe I can show you actually how that looks. So My Blog Guest has been a huge guest blogging network, a very popular guest blogging network, being used by a lot of agencies, being used by a lot of internet marketers, primarily for guest blogging opportunities and for link building. So it was very simple to use. You just signed in with your profile. In your profile, you mentioned whether you were like a publisher that actually wants to solicit bloggers posting the content on your website, or you are a blogger and you are putting out content and you're looking at publishers giving you offers to put out your content. Very simple synergy, but it had really taken off very well. There's a lady by the name of Ann Smarty that actually owns this network, and she has done a great job. In the last 5 years, this has become the #1 guest blogging network in the community across North America. So what Google did was that it took a look at how My Blog Guest was being conducted, and they basically penalize this network. So if you actually go to google.com, and if you actually try and look for My Blog Guest, it's not coming up. So if I go here, and if I actually search for this website, right now you'll see that it's not coming up. I'm getting Ann Smarty's Twitter account. This is her official Twitter account. As you can see, they're doing their PPC campaigns now, so they obviously want to make sure that the website is found by whoever is looking for it. So because they got a penalty and they kicked out, they obviously are now spending money with Google, so they're right on the top there doing PPC advertising. But in terms of organic links, as you can see, I'm searching the exact company name and they're nowhere on the first 40 or 50 results. So Google penalized them, and big news in the industry circles. There's a lot of controversy in terms of why Google would have done something like this, but according to Google, My Blog Guest was or had become a spammy link network where the bloggers were asking for money in order for their content to be published on the publisher sites. The publishers were ready to give money because, again, they were associating link building with this website, with this whole forum, and there was a lot of spammy stuff that was basically taking place. So Google took a look at that and said, nope, this is not ethical, and we're going to penalize this entire network. So my blog guest got penalized, and obviously the site, as you can see, has disappeared from Google. And then as a follow-up is where this news comes in, where Matt Cutts has said that any publishers that were a part of the My Blog Guest network are also going to get penalized in in terms of association with this particular network. So I can safely say WSI ALM has never used My Blog Guest for any of our campaigns, so we are definitely safe. And again, we were always mixed as far as guest posting was concerned. Unless you're not going after quality sites, in a sort of a bigger scale campaign, networks like My Blog Guest, and there's other networks out there as well, were kind of like shady as far as link building is concerned. And whenever you're questioning a link, whether it's shady or not, it is shady. That's the bottom line. If you're not questioning a link, it's fine. So this is really big in the industry right now because a huge number of SEO companies, a huge number of networks were actually using My Blog Guest, and they all got penalized. So big news in the industry. And again, obviously, whenever Google does something like this, it sparks a lot of controversy. According to Ann Smarty, she blamed Google, saying that they've done this and penalized her network, even though she didn't find anything wrong because of a PR stunt, because they are the biggest guest blogging network. So Google did that just as a PR stunt, just to get a lot of publicity. But we'll see how this pans out. But for now, if you are thinking of guest blogging with this particular network, stay away from it. It's being penalized. And you might get penalized by way of association if you're doing anything on this network. Great. So SMX was happening this weekend. There's a lot of news coming out of SMX, and one of the news that came out that raised a lot of eyebrows was that Matt Cutts mentioned that the Google mobile queries may actually surpass PC search this year. So that was a very interesting comment Matt Cutts made. Again, giving rise to the whole debate of how powerful is the whole focus on mobile, and how much money should organizations and clients be spending and focusing, and how much of the strategy should be focused on mobile, because mobiles are kind of different from your traditional desktop search. Your sites have to be configured differently. Your whole conversion architecture changes when you're dealing with a mobile website. So it definitely is requiring a lot of thought. And think about this number. There's about 2 billion personal computers in the world, but there's more than 5 billion mobile devices. So think about that. When you look at the numbers, 2 billion PCs compared to 5 billion mobile devices, it's no surprise that this data is coming out, which is the fact that mobile queries are going to be surpassing PC queries this year, as early as this year. So again, let's, from a futuristic perspective, if we haven't been giving thought to a mobile-oriented strategy, maybe this data is going to push us towards a mobile-oriented strategy. We definitely recommend our ICs that are dealing with us in order to start thinking about mobile. When we do PPC advertising, we're looking at different ads for desktop, different ads for mobile, with different calls to action, so as to make it easier for people on mobile searches to communicate and generate a lead. From a web design perspective, we are always encouraging a responsive web design. If there's a client that's coming on board for a web development project, it's very, very important to be responsive. And on that note, I got a really interesting presentation I want to share with you later on in this webinar. But again, start thinking mobile, start thinking a strategy, a campaign strategy, even from a mobile perspective, because the queries are just increasing. And this is something to also keep in mind. Whenever you're looking at your analytics numbers at the end of the month, always look at the percentage of queries, desktop versus mobile. And if you start seeing a gradual shift and mobile's increasing, that should be a big flag that you should be highlighting to your client, and then having a strategy discussion around, great, so your mobile's gone up from 10% to 40%. 40% of your visitors are accessing your website from a mobile device. So here's the changes that we feel that we should be doing as far as your marketing strategy is concerned. And that's where your expertise comes into play. And this is a great opportunity for some pretty good upsells, whether it's making the website responsive, whether it's increasing the call to action elements on the website. This is a great opportunity for some upsells. So, and that's where your expertise comes into play. So definitely something to think about. The other news item of the week was the discussion on in-depth articles. So in-depth articles, let me give you an example of what an in-depth article is. So let's say I go to guide to SEO. I type that in. And then what Google does is that it's basically going to be giving preference to in-depth articles. So as you can see, like the Free Beginner's Guide to Moz is ranked at the top. Then you have the Google Search Engine Optimization Guide. You have Danny Sullivan's guide. You have Neil Patel's guide, the Advanced Guide to SEO. And Neil is a great example of like somebody that produces a whole bunch of quality content and is really milking the the in-depth articles, because he's always ranked at the top for any sort of like guide related keywords. So there was a lot of discussion on how does Google take into account author rank, and especially when dealing with in-depth articles. How do you rank these sites? Matt Cutts again confirmed in Search Marketing Expo that Google does have a form of an author rank, so that they over time are building a profile of authors that are producing high quality, good quality content that's really in-depth. And by in-depth content, you're looking at 2,000 words or more. That's what's considered an in-depth article. That means that you have subject matter expertise in that area and you're writing quite extensively about that topic at hand. So whenever somebody's searching for a query, you have in-depth articles results that get triggered, and Google confirmed that they have a form of an author rank that they've built over time, and they give preference to these authors based on the author rank that they have, and then rank them in these in-depth queries. Again, the moral of the story is that Google is rewarding you if you have good content, if you have in-depth content. So if you're dealing with a subject matter that requires that your client or yourself have expertise in, then it's suggested to produce content that's extensive, that's elaborate, that's really good quality content, and then slowly but steadily you'll start building up your author rank with Google, and more of your articles are going to be ranking higher and bringing in all that traffic to your website. So that's essentially the moral of the story. All right, so this is something that I wanted to talk about. There was a great presentation done by Bryson Meaner from Resolution Media, and everybody's been talking about how great responsive is, and it's so good to get responsive, and Google's really pushing responsive design. So he gave his presentation on kind of playing the devil's advocate, and raising some points against going responsive. And I suggest that everybody take presentation. It's a great presentation, and it's available on SlideShare. So we have the link at the bottom of our presentation slide. I'll just kind of run through this really quickly. He talks about the 3 basic options for mobile site configuration. You can either go responsive, you can dynamically serve mobile sites, same URL, but a potentially different HTML through device detection. Or you can have a dedicated mobile site, like a m dot whatever. So you can have a dedicated mobile site. And then he goes on to talk about, Google obviously wants you to go responsive, but they don't want you to kind of do this. And then he gives the examples of how responsive sites are not technically responsive, and they're giving out all these error pages, right? Or this, average load time is 8 seconds. Google doesn't want that. Then he also talks about countries. Based on like the mobile operating systems, they don't want like, let's say you do go responsive, but when you go responsive, your website's not showing up properly on operating systems that are the majority in certain countries, like the Android and the Samsung's very popular in South Asia. They don't want your site messed up, because that's just going to mess up the entire user experience. So and then he talks about what Google is really looking for, location aware, indoor maps, click to call, mobile coupons, store locators, barcode scanners. That's really what Google is looking for. But it's not all possible to do with mobile, right? With responsive. So again, he talks about the fact that, the stuff he doesn't like responsive design, he does like responsive design for whatever reasons, and then he talks about where responsive design falls short, and then he advocates what is um, preferably, like, what is, it's really, at the end of the day, his moral is whatever works for you, your audience is what you should be doing. If serving dedicated mobile sites is best for your option, that's the route you should go, and not jump into the responsive bandwagon because everybody is just kind of doing responsive. That's kind of like what his moral of the story is. But I really suggest that you check out this presentation. It's really cool. Great. The other important article that we wanted to talk about a little bit was new title tag guidelines and a preview tool. So as you might be aware, Google has basically come up with a new layout, and in this new layout, what they've done is that they've actually increased their font size. And when they've increased their font size, this has impacted what's actually going to be getting displayed on the pages. So Dr. Pete from Moz had a great post that he'd put up on the 20th of March talking about new title tag guidelines in a preview tool, and they also launched a preview tool, Moz's preview tool, the 2014 edition, where you can actually put in your text and then you can actually see how it looks in the new font for Google. Again, great post. Definitely give it a full read. We'll get you to the gist of this post in a sec. So basically what they're now saying is that, as you're all aware of, with the original font and the way Google originally was, 70 characters was the ideal title tag limit. And now that's changed. So that's changed to 55 to 60 characters. So that's a huge change that's happened. What Google's basically doing is that with the increased font, it's giving you lesser characters so as to display in your search results. Now, they are mentioning the fact that even if you still have your 70 character title tag, you don't have to go in and change it. Google's still going to be indexing the entire title tag, and it's going to give weight to whatever you've mentioned as your title tag. But as far as the display mechanism is concerned, you're safe with 55 to 60 characters as far as your title tag is concerned, and that's what is going to get displayed in the new font size that Google has taken out in their search pages. So this is really important, something to keep in mind when you are writing title tags. I mean, we've started incorporating this in our processes internally. So whenever we're writing our new title tags, we're trying to stick to 60 characters so that everything's getting displayed. So this is important information to bear in mind. Again, a great read. He actually talks about a full analysis that he's done, how he came up with this analysis, and this cool tool that Moz has released so as to see how your title tag would look with the new font size that Google has taken out. So you can put in your title text here, put in your search phrase, it's optional, and then you just hit the Cuts Me Google, and then it's going to give you a display of how your title tag's going to be looking with the changed font. Very cool tool. So definitely a good read. Excellent. So let me pass it over to Armando at this stage, and he's got this great case study on SEO that he's going to be talking about today. Over to you, Armando.
Thanks, Anish. Yeah, thank you. Well, today's case study is basically a real estate brokerage in Georgetown, Ontario, here in Canada. Johnson and Associates. They've only been working with us for about 3 months. We're now in the fourth month of the campaign. So I was able to get some feedback in regards to where they are today and when they started. Now, as you know, many of the ICs out there are working or are looking to working with real estate firms or brokerages. You have to understand it's a very, very competitive market. Key things to take into consideration when you're doing any optimization or you're ready to compete in the internet space within this industry is the fact that not only are you competing with the parent real estate companies that are pumping thousands of dollars a month on SEO, you're also competing with independent brokers and brokerage firms. So it's a very highly competitive industry, and it's one where you as an IC have to really educate the client, have to also Really be very upfront with the client as well, because if they have a small budget, a very small budget, it's going to be very challenging for them to really rank high for specific words. I think that some of the things that we've done with some of our clients is really specify, maybe 3 to 5 keywords if they have a very small budget, and only focus on those, manage expectations, or say, you know what, if you really want to be able to compete and generate traffic and leads, you definitely have to, have a sizable budget, and if possible, even a budget for PPC as well. Okay, so with Johnson Associates, we were in that situation. He had been working with a previous SEO company. He wasn't happy. He was, as a matter of fact, he was losing faith in the SEO process. The other company had not, delivered results for him. There were a major of factors apart from the competition was the fact that they were using different practices, a bit of outdated practices in the SEO world, as well as the fact that the technology that he's using, it's not the most SEO friendly website that he has. And at this stage, when we started working with him, he wasn't looking at starting, at developing a new website that was more SEO friendly. So what do? Right? You have to work with the client with what they have, yet manage the expectations. So it's very, very important to do that. The first thing that we did in this website was we had to do an SEO cleanup, given the fact that the previous company who worked on it had used some of the outdated practices. We had to go in there and basically clean up the site. And this is a very important point for many of your new clients. If you are inheriting a new site, be very careful about what you inherit. It's very important that you double check the website for any potential issues with it, whether it be spammy links that they have, or duplicate content, right? As well as if you log into their Google Webmaster Tools, you want to double check the HTML improvement section to make sure that there's no duplicate meta content as well. Okay, so it's very important to note that, because obviously you want to win the contract, you want to win the client, but you don't know what's behind, right? And that can have definitely a major impact in the results of your of the campaign. And we've been seeing that recently in the past months, where we are being approached by clients and ICs as well, who have issues with their website. So just be wary. Run the Google Webmaster Tools report. Just try to find out what they have, what's going on in the site before you bring it on board. I mean, obviously, if it needs a cleanup, it's good for you. It's more business for you, but you want to make the client aware of that before you bring him on for any SEO plan. Okay, that's the word of advice. This is what we had to do with Johnson Associates. We had to do a bit of SEO cleanup, reworked the meta content that they had on the site. We also had to do a bit of local optimization. Now, here's a situation where also we get a lot of questions from ICs in regards to local optimization. If your client, for example, wants to optimize in 2, 3, or 4 areas around their office location, most likely they will get optimized faster and easier if they have offices in those 4 areas. Now, if they don't have offices in those areas, it'll be a bit of a challenge. Okay, because right now Google, we've seen it through our experience, they're really focusing on local and want to make sure that there's office locations, or give preference to local offices in any optimized in any region that you want to optimize. So in this case, Johnson and Associates, they do have 2 locations, but they wanted to optimize for 4 locations. So we're working with them step by step through local directories and local citations to make sure that we develop a strong SEO backbone in order for them to optimize to rank high for keywords in locations where they don't have an office today. Okay, we're also doing a bit of content writing. I will tell you that the site itself has been a bit of a challenge because it's not very SEO friendly. Sometimes you are inheriting a site where, in this case, it's a brokerage service solutions provider. So you're getting a templated website and you have to work with it, etc. I mean, there's minimal opportunity for customization. So that can be challenging, specifically if you're working with a broker that is getting the website from the parent company like Remax and etc. Right? So that's important. We've done some content writing. We've also implemented video optimization and image optimization. Now, there are clients sometimes, and we have this this challenge as well with ICs and some of their clients where they don't get back to you in time with the content writing. They take long to proofread it. They take long to give you ideas. There's a lot of challenges and buts to get the content on time. So what we've also done is basically implemented other ways of serving good content through video optimization and image optimization, and it's also proven to be helpful. Obviously, a combination of content writing and video optimization is better, but if your client is not providing you with content on time, or is not allowing you to, it's not proofreading or approving content, there's other ways to get around it. So we've been working with Johnson in these areas, and he started to see results after 3 months. Okay, after I think it was during December time, he really lost a lot of faith. He had invested a lot of money in the past in SEO, and he wasn't getting the results. He just came to us, and we were inheriting a bit of a headache in the sense that he was at the end of his patience with internet marketing, specifically SEO, and we didn't have much time to start generating results. On top of that, in December, obviously holiday season, his website wasn't performing. It was very slow. It wasn't performing, and he was getting a bit antsy, a bit weary and concerned about the fact that here we go again, another company that I'm working with and not generating results. So if you go to the next slide, Vinish, please. There we go. So one of the key things that ended up happening in the third month, which was in January 14 to February 13, was that obviously he started seeing the results, and we started seeing the results. There was a lift in overall traffic, which was a combination of organic search results. Right? When we talk about organic search results, we're talking about Google, Bing, Yahoo results, where Google pretty much from December to January you had a 57% lift in traffic organically, and that was a big plus. He started to see that, okay, I'm in month 3 of my campaign, and I can start seeing the results. He's gain more confidence, and now he feels a bit more confident about the whole strategy. Obviously, it's too early. We're still in the 3rd month of the campaign, but he realizes that it does take time. Now, when we looked at February to March, the numbers are also looking pretty solid as well. So again, it's a matter of proving. It proves that if you have a little bit of patience, specifically in an industry that's highly competitive, specifically if you're inheriting a website that has had some SEO challenges in the past, that you want to manage their expectations, you want to work with them, but at the same time, you as an SEO expert or consultant, you have to remain true to your strategy. Not flip-flop and make changes just because one month you had a really bad month. He was asking us questions. He was on the phone. One of those clients that's always trying to understand what's going on, and maybe they've taken 1 or 2 courses in SEO and now they think they're experts. We always have, I'm pretty sure all of us have dealt with these type of clients. But at the end of the day, it's a matter of being patient and staying the course, right? And that's what we've done with this campaign, and he's starting to see the results, so he's a bit more confident about what we're doing. Okay, so a lot to learn in this case study. Vinish, not sure if you wanted to add a few thoughts based on your experience as well, but in reality, it's really managing expectations and working with the client in the difficult times.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest takeaway over here in this strategy, Armando, and this, goes out for the ICs as well, is the fact that, I mean, you don't have to panic. There's always ups and downs as far as like the keyword rankings are concerned that are going to be taking place. That is the nature of the beast, unfortunately. That's how SEO works. In all the campaigns, in the SEO campaigns, I mean, we are specifically focusing on certain targeted keywords for a particular month. While they go up, the others might, fluctuate a little bit. But all in all, our goal is over the course of the 6 months, or the course of 12 months, to show significant improvement as far as like the organic traffic on the website is concerned. And again, here's another point that I want to make. Significant for one is a very different definition of what significant for somebody else means. If you're dealing with an industry that has a huge search volume where you get a couple of keywords that are really powerful, ranked in the top 5, your search volume is going to really shoot up. So you look at a double-digit growth. You're looking at a 200, 300% growth as far as traffic is concerned. Like this is one example where we took his organic from 850 all the way up to 1300, almost like a 75% lift in traffic. Significant for, let's say, a very hyper-local business that's focused, let's say, 10 or 15 miles or 20 miles around their office location, whether it's a dentist or what have you. For them, the definition of significance is going to be very different. Let's say that they're actually getting 50 visitors when they start on with us, and we take the 50 to 100. That's a huge improvement, even though the absolute numbers are not looking big. I mean, 50 to 100 visitors to a website is not that big, but the relative quality, those 50 additional visitors that we're sending to the website, what did that really do for the client's conversion? What do the conversion numbers go up by is what's significant, because we've imagined 50 more targeted visitors that are looking for his specific services that we are now generating for his website. That's a huge, huge difference for him, because he was getting 50. We've doubled the number of targeted visitors to his website, and then we see what it does to his conversions. So it's very, very important to note that the definition of significant varies client to client, and that's something that you manage and set your expectations with your clients when you're starting to work with them. The other aspect is that, a lot of the times you also get feedback, and maybe we can dedicate a little session towards this, is I'm getting the traffic, but I'm not getting the results. I'm not getting, the conversions. I'm not getting sales. I'm not getting the revenue lift that I'm looking for. And again, we are not miracle makers, and that's exactly how you should be positioning your services strategically. The one aspect, our main aspect, is to increase the number of qualified visitors that are coming to a client's website. Now, as far as the increasing sales and the increasing revenue portion is concerned, that's a whole different side altogether. That's where your consulting expertise comes in. That's where your background and your industry specialization comes in, because the sales might not be going up for a variety of reasons. I mean, the client's product is outdated. His competitors are beating him with some very strong offerings. He's the most expensive guy offering that solution in the marketplace. There's a variety of different factors that come into play when it comes to increasing the sales for a client. So that's a whole different consulting strategic side that I believe the IC should be billing for as well, separately, because the core program that we are essentially pitching is we are going to increase the number of qualified visitors to your website by involving this SEO strategy that's going to incorporate, that's going to help you build your brand, help you build your reputation, and it's also going to help you get more qualified visitors to your website, hopefully bringing more sales. And with the whole sales side, as I mentioned, is a whole different animal altogether that should be targeted separately, and there should be a sort of a separate solution for the sales side, because it requires competitive research on the competitor sales tactics, their call to actions, their offers, and our client needs to be competitive in order to be basically taking advantage of this lift in traffic that we've gotten for them. So just wanted to kind of make that point out there. And the other point that Armando mentioned is very, very key. And that point is Google's making it tougher and tougher for us to rank in local areas where the client does not have a physical location and a localized telephone number. And that should be resonated straight up with the clients when you're dealing with them. If they want to rank for multiple locations, then they should be ready to invest in, an office or some sort of a way where you can get a local address in that city that they want to rank for, plus a local telephone number with the localized area code for the city that they want to rank for. Without that, you stand a very, very, very tough chance of ranking in a local area without a telephone number and a local address. And that's just because Google's wanting relevancy as far as results are concerned. And you're not relevant if you're not in that city, because there's other businesses that are in that city that are more relevant than you according to Google's algorithm. So it's a really uphill battle if you don't have any sort of a local presence in a city that you want to rank for. So I just wanted to make those 2 points, but once again, a great case study. And if you want to get information from us, or if you want to use this case study with any of your prospects, please shoot us an email. We can actually give you more information and updated stats on this campaign. Excellent. Moving on. So now to the part of our webinar where we introduce a useful tool for the week. And this week we wanted to showcase this tool called a Quick Sprout. It's by Neil Patel. So it's a really cool tool because it's kind of like, for some of the ICs that are familiar with HubSpot, HubSpot has a grader tool. It's similar, where it basically, you put in your URL and then it just runs a report for you. So Quick Sprout has come up with a very similar tool. You basically put in your URL, you put in your competitor's URL, so you can put in whatever URL. So we decided to do moz.com for this example, and then we compared them to search engine watch. Then we put in search engine land. These are all the leading news search engine news websites for the ones that are like information on these sites. And then there's search engine journal, right? And then we basically ran a search. For the sake of time, we ran this prior to our webinar. And here's the kind of a report that's produced for you. So there's 3 tabs to this report: the website analyzer, the social media analysis, and the competitor analysis. So let's look at what the website analyzer report provides us. So it gives you a rank. So Moz is the 274th most popular website in the world. It's got an SEO score of A+, a speed score of 79. And then you can click on, you get a full SEO report with the recommendations. You get a full speed report that you can access. Screenshots. So there's 3 screenshots. You got the desktop screenshot. He talks about what your above the fold space is. How does your site look on a tablet? How does your site look on a phone? And then it gives you an SEO analysis. It gives you rankings. They got a pretty high score of 99. Social media impact. It actually looks at what your social media presence is. Looks at your backlinks and number of your index pages. This backlinks counter is a little suspect, sometimes not very accurate. So again, take the information with a grain of salt. What are the top keywords that this website is focusing on, and the frequency of these keywords? Speed test gives you a speed test, and then it gives you speed recommendations. High priority, medium, and low priority. So these are all the areas where it actually looks at your website. Then it gives you a quick social media analysis where it again looks at the number of page shares that you have per network. What is your media shares summary? What is the percentage of users that you have? And then it also gives you an indication of page level stats. So for example, in Moz, it'll show you what entries or what posts are getting the highest amount of shares. So you can sort this by popularity, and this is great to kind of see as to what's being buzzed about out there, what topics are really popular, and you can do this for your competitors' blog posts to try and see as to what's getting shared a lot, and then write in a similar fashion or write on similar topics for your client, because you can see what's popular and what's getting a lot of shares. So it's pretty cool in that sense. And then you have your competitor analysis, where they evaluate your website, which was Moz, which is ranked 81, and then they compare it to the other competitors. So in this case, Moz beat the competitors, got a score of 81. Search Engine Land came second with 76. Search Engine Journal came third at 69, and Search Engine Watch came fourth at 69. Actually the same, third position, shared with Search Engine Journal. So great, and then it gives you a competitive analysis table as well, and it evaluates your website in a whole bunch of different factors and compares it to your competitors. So this is a pretty cool tool in terms of some quick stats and snapshots that you are looking for your website. And the best part is that you can actually just click on this link, which is a PDF or an Excel link, put in your email, and you actually get a nice little report that's either sent to you in a PDF or an Excel sheet. The PDF cannot be branded. I mean, if you're a little clever with your PDF skills, you can kind of like take the information, unbrand, and then put in a WSI logo. A little tricky, but you can do it. And then the Excel sheet can be is non-branded, so you can actually put in your WSI logo on the Excel sheet that this produces and have this report for your clients. Takes literally less than 3 or 4 minutes to run this report, so it's a pretty cool report. It's very similar to SilkTide, the web scan that a lot of the ICs use, very similar to that, but it's a more sort of a compact document. It's a more sort of a compact report as opposed to web scan, which is a pretty massive document as far as information is concerned. So a very, very cool tool. So I wanted to introduce this tool this week. Have fun with it. Run your reports, your client sites, your competitors with this tool, and see how they're doing. And the best part is this whole competitor analysis. That's what I really love, because you can actually look at your competitors when you're especially doing your proposals, and you can actually put your client's website against your competitors, and if your competitors are beating your client or your prospect, beautiful. Show that to them. And nothing hurts a prospect like seeing the competitors outdoing them or doing better, and it's a very powerful sales tool. This whole portion right here is the competitive analysis. So this is what I really, really love about this report. Fantastic. So I hope you enjoyed this week's webinar session. Let's move on to questions. Okay, so let's start with Ken Park. What is the SlideShare mobile SEO presentation link, please? Ken, it's on our presentation, so let me actually show you. Well, the link is right here. So it's this one right here, slideshare.net, search marketing expo / the many ways to win in mobile SEO. But the link is on our presentation as well, and we'd be uploading our presentation on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com / WSI ALM, and the presentation is going to be there, and you can review the link over there. But the link's right here in this browser. Mark Patton had a question. Hey, Mark, what should we be looking for in Webmaster Tools? Oh, that's a pretty broad question, Mark, and I suggest that you take a look at the presentation that we've given on Google Webmaster Tools and Bing Webmaster Tools fairly recently. If you want the links to that, we can send that over. But I guess the most important information, it's tough for me to say, here's the one piece of information that you should be looking for in Webmaster Tools. I'd say if I had to name the top 3, the number 1, I'd be looking at the search queries, because you cannot look at the not provided data in analytics, but Webmaster Tools does give you the not provided data. So you can actually look at specific keywords that are driving traffic for your website. So I would say keyword data number 1 on Webmaster Tools. Any HTML errors is the second most important thing that you should be looking at, which is meta tags, meta descriptions, any issues with that. That's your second most important thing you should be looking at. And if I had to choose one more, I'd probably look at the crawl index to try and make sure that there's no errors as far as crawling the website pages are concerned. So I'd say these are probably the top 3 things that you should be looking in Webmaster Tools. What are examples of video and image optimization? Different examples. What we'll do, Mark, is that we'll send you across an email with the examples of video and image optimization. Image optimization is pretty simple. When you are saving an image, or when you are basically positioning an image on a website page, make sure that it has the appropriate alt tag associated with it. It should be a keyword-rich alt tag. So when you take your mouse over the image, you can see the alternate text that's associated with the image. And that's really what the search engines look for as well when they're crawling your page. For video, there's different ways to optimize video. You can optimize them by using appropriate keyword-rich tags to a video. You can put in the appropriate title for the video, which is again keyword-rich. You can put in an appropriate description for a video, which is again keyword-rich. And then the other way to optimize a video is to always have a text version of the video. So document everything, and Moz does a really good job of this. If you look at any of their let me go to Moz here. If you look at any of their whiteboard sessions, whiteboard Friday or Saturday, whiteboard Friday sessions, let's see if we can see one over here. This is a post. Okay, here's a Whiteboard Friday session. So if you look at how they optimize the video, so they have the video here, which you can listen to, but then they also have a transcript of the video at the bottom, and right here, video transcription. So where they actually write down the entire text for the video, which also helps in terms of SEO. So these are some basic tips that you can optimize video and image tags on your website. Mark has another question. When your client is in a small town surrounded by many other small towns, how do you execute local SEO? Again, it depends on the level of competition. If it's a really small town and it's got other small towns associated with it, depends on the competition. If, let's say, I'll take the example of a couple of cities in the GTA. So you have Kitchener and then you have Waterloo. Small cities, relatively small. I mean, they're decent sized cities, but relatively small if you compare it to a Toronto or a Mississauga. But let's say you have a client that's wanting to rank in Kitchener and in Waterloo. Now, it depends. If he's in an industry or if he's in a niche that's not that competitive, and when we look at, and you can easily see that, if the site's optimized or not when you're looking at Kitchener and Waterloo keywords related to that business. If it is not that competitive, then we can simply rank by doing a lot of citation link building and associating the site with both these cities. So we can get them to rank, or even doing content associated with a local geotarget, and then get it to rank based on that, based on association of content and local citations. If it is hyper competitive, where there is businesses in Kitchener and specifically in Waterloo that are ranking for the keywords, then it gets tricky, Mark, because in order to beat them, you have to have an address in Kitchener, and you have to have an address in Waterloo. You have to have a local telephone number that's associated with these two smaller cities. So that's where it gets a little tricky. If it's very competitive, Google wants relevancy, and they want to basically rank only local sites that are associated with that address. Now, having said that, remember, there's two kinds of ranks. There's a local rank, which is the 7-pack, that's the local listings, and then there's your organic rank. You can still rank organically. We've seen a lot of sites that are ranking organically for city terms that are not associated with their address. However, that 7-pack, that local, is a little tricky if you don't have an address and it's a competitive vertical. Mark has another question. When you have offices in two cities with a common website, should you be claiming Google Plus and the local listings in each city? They've made it very simple now. So let's say if you have one Google Plus account, you can have multiple locations associated with that account. So you don't have to claim it separately. You just set up one account and you can list all the locations that are associated with that particular business in that one account itself. So Google's kind of made it pretty easy. However, I will mention the fact that if you do have one website for two cities, you should have a domain specific to that localized city, so that this way, or a page specific to that localized city, which is what we position in all of our local optimization. So we're telling Google very clearly, look, if you're addressing this city, here's www.domainname.com/city1, www.domainname.com/city2. So we are telling Google, here's the city specific pages that are associated with this particular website. Or you can even use a subdomain strategy, which is cityname1.domainname.com, cityname2.domainname.com. So you can actually use these two strategies. Kelly has a question. Is this actually free? I think you're mentioning the Quick Sprout report. Yes, it is absolutely free, Kelly. So now, don't be surprised if you start getting some emails from Quick Sprout, but hey, that's a small price to pay for producing this report, because if you do want the PDF and the Excel version, you have to put in your email address. But they don't normally spam you. They're pretty good with that. Leslie has a question. If you use a Quick Sprout report, do you worry that they were to start marketing to your client? Oh, no, not really, Leslie. I mean, they're pretty good from that perspective. They'll definitely market to you, the email address that's associated on file, but they don't necessarily have your, the website's contact info, the website that you're running through their tool. So I don't think they'll really be contacting their clients. Again, hey, I don't own that business, so I don't think that's ethical. That's like cold calling, so I don't think they should be doing that, because they'd start getting a pretty bad reputation very quickly, and it'll actually discourage users from using their tool. So I don't think that they would actually be calling your clients, but they definitely would email market to you once you put in your email address in that tool. Um, Thanks for the comments, Kelly. Ken, perfect. Kelly also wants the links to the Webmaster Tools presentation. Terrific. We'll send that over, Kelly. Yep, their posts are great. Kelly mentions Quick Sprouts post. Neil puts up some really good content. It's bookmarked by me. His posts in the past on growth hacking, advanced guide to link building, content marketing guide. Beautiful, beautiful posts. He puts in a lot of effort. So really good information on his website. Kelly also had a point saying that Neil's really after the IC type of consultants rather than clients. Yep, totally. And just for your information, we had a meeting with him. He doesn't take any client that is an engagement of less than, I would say, $8,000 to $10,000 a month. So he's really high end. He's after the Fortune 500s. He doesn't care about the local businesses. So that's the kind of clients. He doesn't do any hourly consulting. We've already checked that. His minimum client engagement fees definitely above $6,000 to $7,000 a month. So that's the range that he's at. Leslie had a positive comment. First time listener, really enjoyed the webinar. Terrific. Thanks for attending, Leslie, and you look forward to some great sessions. Yep, that was exactly my reaction as well, Kelly. Kelly says, "Holy crap!" At that fee. Yep, he's a pretty high-end guy, so he only goes after clients, without that sort of an engagement level. And I guess once he reaches his level, his blogs are making so much money, so it doesn't really matter to him. He can be picky about his clients. Terrific. Just looking at seeing if there's any other questions. Nope. Fantastic. This is a fantastic webinar. Thanks everybody for attending. It's love your questions. Keep them coming, and then we'll have another power-packed Launchpad webinar next Tuesday with a new tool and some great information lined up. And hope everybody has a terrific week and a productive one. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.